What made you realize that the relationship is not going to work out? Story 1. When my ex would state 10 seconds into every argument, which became more frequent, that maybe we don't belong together. I think it was her way of guilting me into ending the argument and switching to comforting / assuring her. But one time she said it, and I was just like, well, maybe you're right. I knew right then that we were done. There was no walking back, and I felt so much relief. Story 2. We went to counseling. First session was productive. We were given homework. The second session, the counselor asked how we did. When it was discovered that she didn't do her homework, the counselor called her out on it. We left her office and she said, I don't want to do counseling anymore. That was when I knew she didn't want to put any effort into the relationship. Story 3. I deployed to Iraq and my first paycheck with extra pay hit our account about 2 weeks later. He turned around and spent $250 on cigars. He was unemployed on purpose and we had no children. But because of him, we were broke AF. I cancelled his card, took over the account, paid all bills, and filed for divorce after I got back. Story 4. The doctor says, I think you have stomach cancer. I want to scope your stomach at 5 a.m. I was terrified. I just went home and sat stunned on the couch with the dogs for hours until she got home from work. She gets home. I asked her to sit down. I told her what the doctor said. I told her that I'll need her to take off work the next day because I won't be able to drive afterwards, and I need her to drive me. But I don't want to miss work, she says. That's the exact moment I knew our marriage was over. Story 5. The words still resonate in my head. Either you move out or I'm moving out. I haven't loved you for the past year. My first thought was, wait, that was all fake, as I thought about all we had done together over the past year. I moved out and she filed and finalized the divorce. 3 months after the divorce, she was at my door crying and saying she wanted to get back together because apparently the guy she had been having an affair with wasn't that great after all. Nope, but thanks for ripping all the scabs off my slowly healing wounds from this. If you're enjoying the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really do means a lot to me. Thank you. Now, back to the stories. Story 6. When I woke up 3 days post-surgery, there had been a cancer scar and complications. I whispered to my husband, could you get me some ice chips? Mind you, I had not been out of bed or eating/drinking, much less awake. He said, stone-faced, get them yourselves. Not at that moment, but when I processed it later, I knew I could not grow old and be vulnerable with him. Years later, his excuse was that he had just been on the phone with his mother. Story 7. Kept telling me how useless and pointless I was, and that I had just made a bad investment by falling in love with her. This was after she had squandered the money I lent her trying to save her business. When someone admits that they were using you and your feelings for them to their own advantage, then it hurts. Really hurts. The betrayal of trust just makes it impossible to think positively about future relationships. Story 8. When she told me to stop trying to control her for asking her to stop drinking and driving, she had a car accident a few hours later and almost died. I don't care if you're irresponsible with your own life, but when you drink and drive, you put others at risk. And the fact a 24-year-old had to be told not to do that was shocking. Story 9. My ex-husband bought a brand new car and a house with me while he was in the middle of an affair. My husband's ex worked for several years to improve their credit so they could buy a house, only to leave him for an older boyfriend literally months later. I guess I'm thinking too rationally, but I would never further tie myself to someone I was cheating on. Story 10. I was terrified when I realized I slowly turned into his mother. Harsh, demanding, ordering him what to do, yelling if he didn't do something important after I asked, and reminding him 100 times, etc. Because when I'm being myself, nonchalant, calm, joking about stuff, he didn't lift a finger to do anything. Was making tea and spilled it on the counter. Unless I saw it and said, go take a rag and wipe it, he wouldn't do it. Date plans? Only when I find a place and told him we're going there. Otherwise, the only option was to hang out at his place, cook something together. If I find a recipe, write down a list of ingredients and we both go shopping. Or watch a movie. If I decide what to watch. Broke up because I know there are women who love this kind of dynamic, but it sure ain't me. Story 11. We got home from dinner and she already had her bags packed. She told me she hadn't loved me for the last year or so, and that she'd be staying at a friend's house. I found out a while later that she was only staying for the cheap rent until she paid off her student debt slash credit card bills. Story 12. When I realized I was the only one planning our future, and he was just there riding along with whatever I came up with. It felt lonely and exhausting. I wanted a life partner that could help lead the way and carry the load together with me. Story 13. Once she threw a drink in my face, walked out of the car at a red light, then told me she hoped, in no particular order, that my dad, mom, and dog all died, and that there was no one to comfort me through it. Story 14. Many, many, many things looking back over the years that I took on the chin and kept trying. But once I lost count of how many times she used "I want a divorce slash separation" as a comeback in a fight. I said the next time is the last time I hear that from you. She said it 2 more times and that night told me to get out. 9 years down the drain. What a waste. I'm not okay, but I'm doing everything I can. Story 15. I won an all expenses paid trip for two to the Super Bowl courtesy of Budweiser. Had a bunch of extras given. VIP tickets to concert happening the days leading to the Super Bowl, a Super Bowl experience trip, was supposed to go golfing, VIP tickets to the pre-show, and game tickets in a section with unlimited free booze. Then husband was a total asshole the entire time. Refused to do any of the included activities. Only wanted to find craft beer bars to hang out in. At one point, got shit-faced and wandered around the hotel in a bathrobe, yelling at random people while the head of Budweiser distributor in my town is sitting down trying to recruit me for a job. The morning of the Super Bowl, he decides he doesn't want to go and wants to sell the tickets instead. So I sold the tickets and handed him the 14K from the sales of the ticket. 3 days later, he is telling me to kill myself because I am an awful. It was that moment that I understood this person was miserable and there was nothing in the world that could ever make them happy, and I needed to leave. Story 16. Our social activities only involved her friends. She would make an excuse why she couldn't come to the group activities that my friends and I were going to do. She wouldn't come meet a very good friend of mine from the military who was in town for brunch, but wanted me to bring food home to her. Also inviting ex-boyfriends to holiday meals. Our time together was beginning to be less and less as she would invite a third wheel friend to planned dates because so-and-so had a bad day. Thank you for watching. Hope you're having a lovely day or a lovely evening. I hope to see you again in the next video. Bye bye.